trust, but trust can be demolished very quickly. Have you ever noticed that? Trust is something that has to be repeated several attempts and witnessed to and well documented for it to strengthen. We don't just trust somebody the first time we meet them. I hope you don't. I hope you're not that naive. It takes time. We have to build on the relationship in order for there to be trust. But for trust to be broken, there may merely be a rumor, and it's gone. Trust is very cerebral for us, very much in our minds, very much in our heads is where we have trust housed. And we think about whether or not we should trust, and we filter that decision through our own experiences, others' experiences that we know, and history. Yet this book, this Bible, tells us that we shouldn't at all trust based on what we have going on up here. We read these words: trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not what? On your own understanding. You've heard that one in Proverbs 3 and 5. And so I journeyed through all 50 places in the book of Psalms very quickly that trust is mentioned. And there's some really good ones in there, as I mentioned. Some of the men mentioned yesterday morning at the men's study. There's some really good scripture. If you wanted to just launch out into a Bible study this week, just look at all of the times that the word trust is mentioned just in Psalms. And there's some really good ones in there, but I landed on one particular time, one particular verse for today. And it seems very timely to me for this week. And it's Psalms 118, verse 8. Look how good they are. Read it with me. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's just that simple. I like it simple. You guys know that. Let's don't get hard. Let's don't get complicated about it. What's really cool, this is just a fun fact for you, is that prior to chapter 118 in the book of Psalms, there are 594 chapters. You follow? Starting in Genesis, getting to Psalm 118, there's 594 chapters. After Psalm 118, there are 594 chapters, and you'll be at the end of the book. If you add 594 and 594, what do you get? 1,188. 118 verse 8. I don't know how that works out. I don't know why that's the case. I didn't make that up, but I did count to make sure before I told you. I'm not saying there's anything there other than just, hey, that's pretty cool. What I am saying is, if we consider verse 8 of 118 to be the center of the Bible, it is the central message. It is what? Better to put trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. Can I preach to you for just a second? Can I pastor you for just a second? As we enter into an election season, the likes of which we have never seen in this country. I've only been on the planet 52 years. I've seen a lot of tension. You remember the tension that was in this country if you're over the age of 40 for Roe versus Wade. It was all about the abortion issue back then. There was a divide in this country. Everyone thought, this is terrible. You remember the racial issues that were in this country in the last couple of elections and how it divided this country, and we thought, this is terrible. This is the worst thing we've ever seen. We all lived through COVID and the division that was in this country and in our churches, not this church, but in churches, just over vaccinated and unvaccinated. And so there's all these divisions, and we thought, well, it can't get any worse than that. I promise you, I am telling you, before we reach the 5th of November, we will see tension and division in this country like we have never seen. And guess what's back on the platform? Feminism. Don't get mad at me. I didn't do it. I'm just telling you what to look out for. And so as we enter into, and I'm not standing up for one candidate versus another. I'll tell you what I tell everybody that asks me. I'm worried about this cup. Can someone move this cup? I'll tell you what I always tell people who ask me about political issues, especially when it comes to a presidential election, when everybody's going to the polls and everybody wants to worry about who to vote for. Pastor, who do I vote for? I say, I can't tell you that, but I will tell you this. You better vote according to what's important to God. You better do your research. You better see who you're voting for. I'll tell you what's important to God. People are important to God. Life is important to God. Israel is important to God. That's what's important to God. And you better get yourself lined up before you go to the polls. It's better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man or woman. Ain't nobody going to come along and save it all except Jesus. There ain't one person that's ever going to run for political office in this country that's going to do everything you want and do it perfect. It ain't going to happen. You should have your eyes on Jesus. Are you saying don't bother to go vote? Not at all. It is your responsibility. I'm going to go vote. I want you to go vote. I'm saying you better line it up the best you can with Scripture. That's all I'm saying about that. The other thing about it is, the previous chapter to chapter 118 in Psalms is the shortest psalm. The one after it is the longest psalm, 119. Again, I don't know how that stuff works out. It just does. It is better. It's just simple. Right here in the middle of our Bibles, it's just a simple message that is written in a song, and it just simply states, it's better. You ever been shopping for, say, windshield wipers? And you go in the store, and you're thinking windshield wipers are still $10. And you look on the shelf, and the cheapest ones that fit your vehicle, your Pinto, are $26 a piece. And those are the good ones. But then you realize that there's a better windshield wiper. This one's got triple blades on it. This one covers more of the windshield than the other one. You got your good and you got your better. So there's other ways that you can do this, is what this is saying. There's other ways you might go about it. But it's better to trust the Lord. You might not get beat up as much if you trust the Lord. You might not fall down as much if you trust the Lord. You might get yelled at more, but you'll be more successful in the long run if you trust the Lord. Some of y'all just realized it's an interactive service. The more expensive triple action blades for your windshield are better. They wipe off more water in one stroke. It will cost you more money, but they're better. Turn to your neighbor and say, it's better. Paula Deen made a living cooking on TV, telling us that every recipe that we might want is what? Better with what? Butter. And she's right. And I also like the fact that she said don't bother using margarine. It's one step away from being plastic. Get the butter. It'll be better. Everything's better with butter. It's just better. So it's better to trust, to take refuge, to get under the protective cover of the Lord than to put confidence in man. But it's easier to put confidence in man. Do I need to say that again? It's easier to put confidence in man or woman, but it's better to put confidence, trust in the Lord. Trust. Well, why is trust so hard for us when it comes to God? I've met people that'll give their trust, that'll offer their trust to a person almost instantly. They just meet them, they come with some credentials, and they say, well, hey, they said this, so they just put their trust in them. It's just easy to put trust in man. Are we just built that way, perhaps? Is there just something inside of us that just allows us to look another human being in the face? They look honest. I've had people tell me that. I sit down with them, I give them some advice, and they go, well, you look honest. Well, thank you. And we just offer up our trust. But then when it comes to God, we want to wrestle with it. We want to devise a plan. We want to get some proof. We want to work through it. And so we advise others to do it. We say it a lot. Trust the Lord. Trust God. We can quote the scriptures out of the Bible that apply to it, but we struggle with the application of it. I struggle with the application of trusting the Lord. I struggled with the application of trusting the Lord this week. Why is it so hard? Well, here's what I believe the Lord spoke to me in my spirit. Actually, yesterday morning, I was here. I was actually right over here somewhere, and the room was very quiet, as it normally is on Saturday mornings. Did you know we had prayer time at 7 a.m. on Saturday mornings? And I had made one of these chairs my altar, if you will. And I was just asking the Lord, teach me how to trust you. I wasn't praying for you yet. That came later in the day. I was praying for me. Will you show me how to trust you? Because I fail at it. I don't do a good job at it. I don't always get it right. And so I was just asking him, will you show me how to trust you? And I believe two words got spoken to my spirit while I was thinking about the word trust and asking him to help me. And those two words are these two words: wait. Write that down. Wait and faith. Wait and faith. Folks, trust is hard. Waiting is harder. Tom Petty got it right. Waiting is the hardest part. We won't sign up to wait. You don't go to Carowinds like we did yesterday afternoon, and you've got a line that's moving as fast as humanly possible to get you on and off of rides, and then there's a secondary line that says, if you just like to wait, maybe get in this line. And nobody's in that line. I'm being facetious, but if it was there, no one's going in the... Yeah, I'd love to just hang around here for a couple of hours in the 90-degree heat and sweat it out over here. I think I'll just wait. We've been thinking about maybe making a trip to Florida, to that place down there, you know, that everybody goes. And people go, hey, if you go down there, get the fast pass, whatever it's called. You don't want to wait. We don't like to wait. We're not used to waiting. We've gotten good at having everything happen for us right here, right now. Mama used to be in the kitchen cooking all day. Right? Did you have a mom like that? She'd start in the morning for dinner. She's cooking. I don't know what she was cooking. I don't know why it had to cook so long. But now we got Instapots. How many of you got one of these? 5 minutes. We're eating. We just started 5 minutes ago. It's done. Ding. Or whatever. Let the pressure off. Let's cook this thing. Thank you, pressure cooker people. Instant. We got to have it in an instant. Had a microwave years ago. Came on the scene. Coolest thing ever, right? Got to have it now. I want it hot now. 30 seconds, that thing is boiling. Can't wait for the stove to heat it up. Don't have that much time. We put something in a search bar on our phone. On our phone. Sorry, I'm old. Not just on a computer, but on our phone. We put something in the search bar, and instantly we've got 16,000 options to choose from right there. It just comes to us. It just happens instantly. We text someone and they don't respond in what? 10 seconds? We lose our mind. They hate me. That's what's going on here. I don't even know that they're still caring about me right now. It's already been 30 seconds. I don't know how that happened. Used to be you'd write a letter, put it in the mail. It'd take a couple days to get there. They might respond. So 2 weeks later, you get a letter back and you're like, yay, they still love me. Now they don't text you back in 30 seconds. They must have unliked me. I'm done. We got to have it. We got to have it right now. Everything happens at an increased speed. They've raised the speed limit on our roads, by the way. For those of you that are just starting to drive, you didn't used to go that fast. It would take you 5.5 hours to get to Myrtle Beach. Now you can get there in under 4. Why? Not because you're driving faster, because they changed the speed limit and you're driving faster. Everything's got to happen at an increased pace. But what I read in this book doesn't line up with that. Who's hearing me? What I read as I read through my Bible is the opposite of let's get it done faster. I read things like this: be still and know that I am God. That doesn't sound like that's going to happen very fast. I hear those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. I read that literally, that if I don't wait, my strength won't be renewed. I read things like, go to Jerusalem and wait there for the promise that he told the disciples. Wait. 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 There's a lot of waiting going on in here. Is there anyone in the house today or online waiting on God to do something? Waiting on God to move, waiting on his hand to move. There's a lot of waiting. Some of y'all don't know how to wait. You don't know how to sit still. I'm going to pick on Pastor Robert because he's not here. Pastor Robert's high strung. He don't know how to wait. He'll wait 5, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and then we got to do something. Let's go do something else. He don't do well at waiting. I don't think he would hate me too bad for saying that, but since he's not here, whatever. He don't wait well. I wait really well. Somebody tell me, I need you to drive me to the doctor. I'm going to be in there 2 hours. You can leave if you want, and I'll call you. I'll be like, no, I'm good. I'll be in the parking lot. I don't have no problem waiting. I could wait all day. I got no issues with that. Patience was delivered directly to me when he dished it out. Some of y'all got calendars. They're just so slap full of stuff to do. You got to get up. You got to get the dog to the vet and bring them back home. You got to get Susie to the dance class. You got to pick up somebody from practice. You got to make the muffins and drive them over to the women's social. You got to make it to the exercise class at 2 o'clock, drop the dry cleaning off, pick up some organic carrots at Aldi, stop at Target because they got $2 trinkets over there that you hadn't looked at yet. You were wanting to pick up the grand youngin' something on the way home. You got to pick Susie up from dance class because she's already calling. You got to get home to take the dogs out. You got to cook dinner. You got to drive to the church for small group, do homework, do the laundry, convince the kids to take baths and get them in bed, prepare lunch for the following day, prep the crafts for Sunday school, check the air in the tire, and work 8 hours in that shift somewhere. When you going to wait? When's the waiting time that this book says you need to have in your schedule so that you can just wait? We better get our calendars out. We better start scheduling some margin in our day somewhere to wait on the Lord. Why? Because it's better to trust, to wait in the Lord than to put our confidence in man. You know, I was here, as I mentioned yesterday morning.